Don't you hate the feeling when you go to a wedding and it turns out to secretly be a play in disguise? Yeah, me too. A transfer from the Almeida, A Mirror is a play all about censorship. Using both the text of the play and the format that it's structured in, it seeks to talk about censorship in different countries and how to rebel against it. So, was it successful in this, or did it fall a little bit flat? Let's find out. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie, I talk about theatre. I am the most chaotic theatre person on the internet. I do reviews, I do discussions, I do video essays, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps out the channel. But let's dive into A Mirror. The best way to describe this play is it's a play within a wedding. That's not actually a wedding. You got bamboozled. As it's revealed that the wedding is a sham and a veil for a rebellious play criticizing the government of this country. This is a unnamed country that's made up specifically for this play, but heavily inspired by different countries around the world. Once we get past the fake wedding, we quickly go into the actual play, which is about a young writer named Adam. A man who writes a verbatim play about his neighbours, which is very quickly shot down by the officials in the government. But one official sees potential in his writing and tries to mould him and mould his art. But what happens when Adam isn't quite giving the results that this official wants? What I will say is that A Mirror is an interesting watch. I think its format leads to a lot of fun moments, and I can't say I wasn't entertained by this play. I was thoroughly entertained. I think the style that it leans into really does work, and I'll talk a little bit later about how this format is explored, both in the actual play, the text, and how they've extended that past the actual staging of this play. But really, I'm not sure how much substance there is to this play beyond the actual surface of it. The more I dwelled on this play and the more I spoke to people about it, the more you kind of realize that it's quite surface level with a lot of what it's exploring. It has interesting ideas, and it has the format to back it up, but it doesn't really feel like it's making too many judgments or having these characters reflect this situation. I feel like there are moments where the play within a play format of this actually means that we're struggling to connect to some of these characters. They're entertaining to watch, but I don't really feel like I'm getting to know them. But what I think this play does really well is how it peppers in the comedy. I think the best moments of this are when it kind of laughs at the audacity of the events in the play. I think some of the reactions that we get from characters are priceless. As the main officer, Chelik, is really challenged on what he kind of expects out of Adam versus what he actually gets. And the conflict that arise from this and the misunderstandings are really, really intriguing. There's a lot of great moments here. There's a lot of great ideas here. But beyond the basic idea of words and plays being a way to fight back against censorship, it doesn't really feel like it's got much to say on the matter. I feel like that's the play's biggest setback, unfortunately. I wouldn't say the play is empty or void of any discussion on the themes, but sometimes it feels a little bit too wrapped up in its gimmick. No matter how well done that gimmick is, if it doesn't have as much exploration for the text to back it up, it can feel more empty once thought about. I think the gimmick helps the play flow. As I said, it's only after the fact and in sitting down to discuss the play in this review that I realised I wanted more substance. It's entertaining, for sure, but is it as well explored as some other plays? Not really. Now, let's talk about this format. I'm going to pretty much just dive straight into spoilers here. I mean, I pretty much dive into spoilers anyway in my reviews, but if you really don't want to be spoiled, I would click away from the video now. I think the format of this play is really unique, and I think what it does well is using the idea of censorship to lead the play and how it's structured. And I really enjoy how this stretches a lot further than just the actual play itself. The entire front of house is redecorated. You step in and immediately you're in this wedding venue. You have pictures of the cast on the walls. You have balloons and arches. You have a wedding cake on the bar downstairs. You can tell how much thought they've put into this, not just for the play itself, but making it feel and stretch beyond the walls of the auditorium, which immediately brings you into this world and immerses you a little bit more. Which, for a play that's trying to go for a little bit more of an immersive element, that's trying to go for a play within a play, I feel like this committal should be commended. And I even think a lot of this gimmick is integrated really well into the text of this show. We start with the wedding. We get a visit from an officer, immediately kind of throwing a wrench into the matter and showing us the clear danger and what these characters are fighting back against. And then after they're gone, we start to go into the actual play. The atmosphere immediately changing. We get a stark warning from the characters that what we're doing and what we are signing up for is inherently dangerous. And it really adds a clear threat to the underlining matter of this story. And how much these characters are sacrificing, even just trying to speak out against this government and this overall system. And I love how it's not just a start. We don't just jump into it, do the whole play, and then it ends. We have several moments throughout the play where there's false alarms. We have to stop for a moment. Everything halting for a moment as we think that maybe this is it. Maybe this is the moment where everything switches. And these are also used for some great moments of including the audience as well. In this staging, they do use a few immersive techniques. These moments are funny, these moments are immersive, but they also make you feel like you are a part of this. You're a part of this plan. Even the typical things like joining in for the call and response stuff, or standing up at the start when you're asked to. These things that you would typically do just kind of bring you immediately into the vibe of this show, but also continue to highlight that danger that's lurking outside. In front of every seat, you have this little pamphlet. I think in a wedding it's called the Order of Ceremony, and there's a section in the play where you, as the audience, are asked to read this out all together. I think it's really clever how it approaches these and how it does this, using some more immersive and interactive elements to really show the threat and the danger lurking underneath, to add some further subtext to this whole show. But what it does, most of all, is it builds the image of this world and shows you exactly what it's like to live here. And then there's the ending. There's the big twist, where it is revealed that the Adam we've been following through this whole play, the person who believes in truth over everything, who's been writing all of these verbatim plays, is not the person who is playing Adam, and is instead the person playing Chelik, as we see the real Chelik walk in and break up this play. I like this ending for the dynamic that it starts to bring in. I think Judek Rudak as the real Chelik has such a presence about him that he instantly demands your attention. And a lot of this section is hinging on his performance. He essentially has just this giant monologue. This performance carries an ending that feels a little bit too focused on a twist, then taking the opportunity to make more of a stance on the themes of the play. Let's briefly touch on the design of this show. There is a phenomenal job done here. Turning the Trafalgar into a wedding venue, and then using lighting really effectively to completely 180 the atmosphere of the wedding into the play is so effective. Such fantastic work. I love all of the specific touches, like removing some of the seats in the middle of the auditorium so we can have a wedding aisle come down and stretch beyond the stage. It is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Let's talk about this cast. We have Johnny Lee Miller as Chelik, who gives a haunting performance. I like how he starts the play not quite being so hateable. You can see him trying to give Adam a chance, and you are endeared towards him, but as the play goes on, you start to trust him less and less, as you can kind of tell more and more that he is still a tool to keep this system going. Miller does a great job of portraying this, coming across as really friendly, but also having that spark behind him, that anger behind the eyes. And especially during the moment where he's berating Adam, when he comes back with his second play, you see a very different side towards him. I think one of the characters who gets like the biggest journey through this play is Tanya Reynolds May. She starts off very shy and reserved, very nervous, and we watch her grow more, start to speak up a bit more, and we really do get to see her growth as a character. Samuel Adewumnai as Adam is really humble and relatable. He comes across very much as your everyman in this situation, thrown into this world that he doesn't really have much interest in, and slowly realizing what's really going on. I've already mentioned a little bit about Jude Adewudike's senior officer, who is later revealed to be Chelik. A very demanding presence in this play. Only getting one scene, but being such a strong demanding presence that he really does leave an impact. And finally, Jeffrey Streetfield as Bax. A character with a lot of demons that's really interestingly explored through Jeffrey's portrayal. And I really enjoyed his journey as he starts to realize what Chelik has almost made him to be. A mirror is an interesting idea. I think it explores its themes for its format well, but less so with the actual text. I think it has some great moments that are used for some great comedic effect, and a slow burn where we start to realize what this system is and the place of these characters within it. While I was entertained by the play, I do wish it dove more in to the idea of censorship and had a bit more of a voice on what it wanted to say about it, but there is certainly enough to enjoy about this play. But what do you think? Have you seen A Mirror? What are your thoughts? Let me know all of them in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me and it helps the channel. Here's some links to some of the videos on screen right now and a link to my Instagram if you want to drop me a follow over there. But that's it for me today and I hope to see you next time. Bye.